Hey there guys, how's it going? Reaper here, back with another painting video, and it's another Zombicide mini. This is well, they're called the runners, but they're basically the goblins of Green Horde, because these are goblins where everything else is an orc. But as with all of our minis, primed in the standard grey primer that we use, and I'm going to use Angel Green for this, as I want the skin tones to be slightly varied so you can easily tell them apart on the table. Like, a lot of people do different colour bases and things, but I think a solid black base works for everything, so it makes sense to do that and then just change the way the minis actually look. There we go, nice quick simple paint job for the skin. The longest part is actually this part, which is the werewolf fur. That's for essentially everything else that's not already painted green, as I want to keep this mini as simple as possible because we're doing a lot of them, so they got to be done very quickly. This single mini took roughly 45 minutes to an hour to do, including drying time, which is pretty good. So if you're batch painting these, you can churn these out pretty damn quick if need be, and on a table in a group these will look perfectly fine. Of course, once we get onto the actual main characters, then we have to spend a little bit more time and make it look pretty, because they're the individual character that's on the table. They're not going to be that horde of zombies running towards you. And that is it for the werewolf fur. Now we're moving on to green skin. Just looking at the Angel Green, once I'd put the wash on, I had a feeling it was going to get really dark, probably a lot darker than it should be, so I'll come back with some green skin highlight just to pop it all back up to where it should be. So now when the wash goes on, it will still be dark, and significantly darker than the walker that we did last time, but not so dark that you can't see any detail. So as with all of our highlights, it is just the raised areas, just basically everything but recessed areas. So large flat areas also get the green skin, as that's how it would look in real life, because you want the shadows to really look like the shadows. Because highlights are more, it's not so much a highlight as such, it's more of a, this is the actual color of the skin, and the recesses are more the shadowy area of the skin that's hidden. That's why they're slightly darker. But you always start with the darker one and move up. It's just easier to paint that way. And that was it for that highlight. Now we're on to Monster Brown, which is the highlight for essentially everything else again. Looking at this, there's only actually 4 colors if you don't include the highlights. So you've got the brown, green, there's a red for the mouth and the eyes, and then metallics. That is essentially the entire paint scheme for this mini. there we go. That is it for the highlights for the entire mini. Now we move on to Gunmetal, and this is just basically for belt buckles and the rings, and he has studs on his shoulder pads. So I'll just quickly dot them in, make them look shiny and metal like they should do. And it adds a little bit of variety, as the mini would look very plain if you didn't add these, as it would just be green, brown, done. That just doesn't have to be a lot, but just a tiny little bit of detail such as this just adds so much to a mini and just makes it look a little bit more yes, essentially. Now we move on to Crusted Saw, and this is just the mouth and the eyes. Obviously the eyes get highlighted up afterwards, but oh yeah, I did do the ears, and don't do that, it just doesn't look right. And as soon as I do the eyes, I quickly rub off the ears, as it just doesn't look right. There we go. That is the perks of using watered down paint as well. If you don't like it, wipe it off. But now we move on to Strong Tone, and this is for everything but skin. That was it for Strong Tone. And then it is Green Tone for all of the skin, and of course inside the mouth, as it should have a sort of skin coloured tinge to it, considering it's the inside of that mouth. There we go. Now that's dried off. Just pure red to dot on the tip of the tongue, just to give it a little bit of like it's coming out of the mouth, and the eyes. But that is it for the mini. That is how quick and simple you can actually paint these minis, and that will look great on a table with a horde of them. And you can always, if you want to add some variety, always just change some of the leather colors or even skin tone. Just use one of the lighter skin tones that we use, because the fatty is also going to have a different skin tone, which will be the next video. But there you go, a quick, simple Goblin Runner. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Like, subscribe if you did enjoy, and I will catch you next time with the fatties. See ya.